I see them there, Rob. The Dubbins, they're right there.
Yeah, I see him. About to light him up.
Yeah, good.
What's going on, people? I am Dukedobbins, FTW, and an epidemic of cheating has spread across PUBG like AIDS. Aimbots, wall hacks, speed hacks, invisibility, this guy's hanging out on a fucking balloon, it's chaos. And we're beginning to see signs that that chaos is taking its toll on the game. PUBG's daily player average has fallen for the first time ever, the community is in an uproar, and it's consuming so much dev attention that content is being delayed. So far, PUBG has banned over 1.5 million accounts, or 6% of the game's total player population, meaning that at one point, on average, each 100-player match had an average of 6 cheaters in it. The most frustrating part of all this is how easy the problem would be to solve. What's happening to PUBG today is nothing new. It's a part of a pattern that has plagued games with player-to-player economies since the days of RuneScape in 04. Anytime you provide an opportunity for people to make real-life income off of in-game rewards, you're inviting professional farmers to exploit the game in any way possible to turn a profit. Today I want to talk about why it seems more and more likely every day that this is what's really behind PUBG's hacking epidemic. Right now you can visit the Steam Marketplace or any number of third-party sites to buy PUBG skins, often for stupid sums of money. The rarest items cannot be earned through BP alone, but even the most common items still sell for a decent price. 20 bucks for a gray shirt, that's as much as I spend for shirts in real life. The rarest crates can still be earned in-game but cost $2.50 to open, a very small price to pay considering how much the items inside typically sell for. It sounds absurd, and it is, but those of you who witnessed the way people lost their shit for things like CSGO knife skins will be familiar with the phenomenon. This game uses an identical loot crate model after all, and surprise surprise, suffers from the same amounts of excessive hacking. I don't know why people are willing to pay real life money for such dumb shit, but they are. And so a perverse incentive structure is created wherein you can translate the in-game battle points you earn for real cold hard cash, and depending on the popularity of the game, a lot of it. Games media first noticed crate farmers on PUBG during the rampant influx of idlers that played the game not too long ago while some of the limited time events were going on. It was a simple enough process. The longer you last in a match, the more battle points you get. And AFK characters dropped at the last stop often last a decent length simply because nobody bothers to find them. A direct link has not been definitively established between PUBG's hacking epidemic and gold farming. Unfortunately, most gaming media outlets aren't interested in the kind of investigative reporting required to look into this. But it would explain why the problem is so much worse in PUBG than other games. In Overwatch, a game also boasting 30 million players, widespread popularity in Asia, and a strong competitive scene, it's considered a big deal when they ban 10,000 cheaters. A tiny fraction of PUBG's 1.5 million. This would also explain why PUBG's hackers are predominantly Chinese. That's where most of the online gold farming industry is based. The New York Times has reported that as many as 100,000 Chinese were farming virtual items for a day job back in 2005, when gaming and demand for virtual goods was a fraction of what it is now. Offices stocked full of cheap labor or prisoners grinding 8 hours a day for virtual items and currency that they can then sell for real-life profit. Today, the industry of virtual farming is estimated to be worth 500 million. But even in 05, company officials were quoted saying it's not unheard of for gamers to come to our website and spend $10,000 on a fully outfitted character in a video game. It sounds absurd, and back then I might not have even believed it, but nowadays we know it's all too common for people to drop that kind of money on even mobile free-to-play games. The industry refers to these people as whales, and there are enough of them that they often make up more of a game's total revenue than all other non-whales combined. When you see how profitable microtransactions have become, you can't be surprised when third parties try to sell them too. It's also important to remember that, as this Time story notes, many of these workers are willing to farm for an effective wage of 30 cents an hour. Poverty in China is severe enough to make these kinds of industries attractive to people willing to work for a lot less than many Westerners ever would, making even asinine business like this profitable. If they're doing it for World of Warcraft, EverQuest, and even RuneScape, you can bet your ass they're doing it for PUBG, which was the best-selling video game worldwide in 2017. These articles are all 5 years old or more. If they'd come out today, I suspect PUBG would have featured prominently in them. In the past, these gold farmers were notorious for using bots and other hacks to speed up their production of virtual goods. The basic goal of any business is to try and maximize profit. It's already a quasi-illegal industry. Why would they have any qualms about cheating? Many suspect the recent wave of idlers relied on bots to automatically queue them into matches. But following the PC Gamer article, idling became much less effective. For one, because Bluehole began cracking down harder on it, and once players realized there were a dozen free kills at the last stop of every match, players were farming idlers faster than the idlers could farm BP. It's easy enough to imagine these gold farming companies switching from macro bots to aim bots. PUBG is a difficult game. Giving your workers that extra edge would likely make a dramatic difference in how much BP they earn that day. And the hacks are cheap enough and easy to find, especially in China. They advertise in-game, on streams, and in the leaderboards. Often the top-ranked players worldwide will have names shouting out Chinese social media pages you can visit to acquire hacks. Ultimately, it creates a vicious arms race. As cheating becomes more and more prevalent, many players seek to acquire cheats simply to gain an even footing. Especially in China, where gaming is much more competitive than many Westerners realize. And so you have this whole industry propped up on virtual game economies, an industry that has not only persisted but thrived over the last 15 years, despite even the most powerful game developers like Blizzard aggressively trying to crack down on them. It's hard to imagine PUBG succeeding where World of Warcraft and a dozen other MMOs have failed. But a key difference between PUBG and MMOs is that the player-to-player economy isn't a necessary part of the game. There is no tangible benefit to the gameplay from letting players trade cosmetic items with one another. This was a tricky problem for World of Warcraft because the economy was such a fundamental part of the gameplay, but it would be very, very simple for Bluehole to put an end to all of this tomorrow. All they would have to do is ban player-to-player sales of cosmetic items. They could still sell microtransactions the good old-fashioned way just without letting customers exchange the shit with each other. But there's plenty of reason to believe they won't. The truth is, Bluehole actually profits quite a bit off the so-called gray market of trading virtual goods. They get a fraction of every purchase taking place on the Steam community marketplace, and every time they ban a hacker, they make a new sale when said hacker has to repurchase the game. And though true, their daily active player counts have stalled, that may not actually be players leaving in frustration over cheating, but simply a reflection of how many cheaters' accounts they've banned. At $20, PUBG itself is actually cheaper than many of the in-game items people are buying and selling, and it costs even less in China, meaning these companies and even your average Joe on the streets can absorb the cost of banned accounts pretty comfortably. So there's little reason to think Bluehole's present strategy will ever really solve the problem. Indeed, BattleEye, the service tasked with combating cheating in PUBG, has tweeted that even after banning 1 million accounts, things only continue to escalate. So just remember, the next time you get screwed out of a chicken dinner by some jackass shooting you through the mountains, he's likely making money off of it, as is a long list of other people. Thanks for watching. Please remember to rate and follow me on Twitch. Link in the description. This is Batman, signing out.
There you go.